To the Point with Michael Williams.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Point. I'm Tori Dunnan. Michael Williams is off. Everywhere you look, you see construction, from office buildings to homes, and now leaders of municipalities across South Florida are all tackling the same issues: how to keep up with expansion and keep their cities and towns still feeling like home. On Wednesday, the long-awaited Brightline station in Boca Raton will open just yards from Meisner Park. WPTV's Danielle Seat shows us how the potential impact goes well beyond a new train station.
I think it's going to be fantastic. It's going to bring business, people, and that's what we need.
Years of planning and construction has now led to this, a new Brightline station opening just a stone throw away from Meisner Park. Local businesses say this is going to put them on a map in a way that really they've never been before.
I think it's going to definitely be beneficial. I mean, having the Brightline very nearby is going to definitely bring some clients over to us that maybe wouldn't come here on a regular basis.
But the potential impact goes beyond tourists.
We're just really excited.
Samantha Sands works at Calaveras Cantina at Meisner Park. She says that her and her friends have been talking about this for months.
We're going to be able to get on the Brightline right here in Boca and be able to go to Miami without having to drive, not have to worry about traffic.
Brightline says the new stop is expected to bring in an annual $10.9 million increase in local spending, and Boca Raton Mayor Scott Singer has pushed for the project since the beginning.
Here they're going to frequent our shops, our businesses, they're going to be employees, they're going to help our cultural attractions. The trains have been coming here for years. Finally, we as Boca residents get to ride on them.
I'm Danielle Seat, WPTV News Channel 5.
So my guest today is the mayor of Boca Raton, Scott Singer. First of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
A lot happening in the next few days, right? And talk a little bit about the expansion of Brightline into Boca and what that means.
Brightline's expansion into Boca Raton is a game changer for our residents and businesses. The excitement has been palpable and building for years, and in the 1 year or less it's taken to build the train station and garage, very impressive construction timeline. People have had that excitement build. We can't wait. We understand what it means for our residents to be connected to a major transportation network, and for our businesses, cultural attractions, and entertainment venues, especially in downtown, to be able to draw an audience all the way up and down the line.
So you have this big bowl, right, that's happening as well. It's the roofclaim.com Boca Bowl. That's happening on Tuesday night. Some might question, why not start the Brightline on the same day, or talk us through the timeline for Brightline.
Sure. Well, Brightline did impressive work. As I mentioned, they started work less than a year ago on the garage and parking garage and the station in January. And yet 11 months later, we're ready to kick off service from a groundbreaking. That's incredible. This idea was hatched in 2019 when I first approached Brightline's CEO and insisted that Boca Raton was a special market and needed its station. They reciprocated the interest, and we worked to get that deal done before the pandemic. As for the timing of the Boca Raton Bowl, it would have been nice if they're happening both at the same day, but it's going to be a very big 24 hours in our city's history.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So do you feel like this will bring more people into Boca who maybe otherwise drove through the area coming from Miami up to West Palm Beach? Do you feel like there's going to be more traffic in terms of like in businesses and restaurants and things like that?
Absolutely. Our cultural institutions, just for one example, are very excited. The Boca Raton Museum of Art has been having renowned exhibitions from across the world. They can draw people from Miami more readily on Brightline, including international tourists who didn't come with a car to South Florida. The Meisner Park Cultural Center, now called the Studio at Meisner Park, is excited. And we also have a $100 million plus planned performing arts center, the Center for Arts and Innovation, that's looking at being there, and they see the value of Brightline too, along with so many of the restaurants, shops, and employers in our downtown.
Right, so this past week you had another kind of a big talker in terms of growth, right? Growth is what South Florida is really dealing with right now, but there was a project that was denied to build a new Chick-fil-A right along Federal Highway. Some residents in the area say that they were a bit concerned about the traffic problems and the congestion. There was a lot of public comment about this, talk about the reversal on this, and really where all this stems from, and how do you manage this type of growth?
Well, managing growth is one of the most key things that any local government can do, and I think we've done a very good job in Boca Raton. For example, Brightline is a way to move people. We understand that traffic is a big concern for people. Having more modes of transportation help. Brightline helps. Our partnership with Tri-Rail, the Tri-Rail Yamato Road station used to be one of the most popular on the line. In fact, it still is, used to be #1. And we have a city shuttle service that operates with our local businesses. A drive-through is a little unique, one-off issue. It's not indicative, I think, where we're seeing and managing growth. That site had some unique peculiarities about it. But overall, in managing growth, we have many businesses flocking to Boca Raton, and more are excited about the Brightline. The fact that Brightline is here is a huge driver when we're talking to businesses and pitching them from coming from high-tax, cold weather climates like New York and Chicago. They want to see things like Brightline, and now Boca Raton is one of the few cities that has it.
Talk a little bit more broadly about managing growth. There's a lot of business coming to South Florida, a lot of people moving here. How do you manage that and not build too quickly without having the resources available?
Well, Boca Raton has done a very good job over our history in managing growth appropriately. We have a lot of businesses coming here, but the great thing is we have a lot of corporate space. We're home to more than half the corporate headquarters of all of Palm Beach County, and we still have vacancy, and we have a lot of Class A vacancy, and in fact, we have 2 spec projects underway for more Class A office. That puts people there, but it doesn't really add a great deal of growth in terms of traffic and transportation, because you already have the office space in the large part, and you're reusing and retrofitting and improving some office space. What really helps manage growth is making sure we have modes of transportation where people are living near workplaces. We've done that with planned mobility in the northwest part of our city, and that's been a big boon. We're doing this downtown where you're seeing office go in with residential and now high-speed rail.
More broadly speaking, in South Florida, there are sort of competing visions about what South Florida should look like. You have some people who want it to turn into a much bigger area, who like the growth, who like the people who are moving down here and just this new sense of community. You have others who want it to be that small town Florida feel. So how do you appeal to both sides?
I live in Boca Raton, and I'm not saying this because I'm the mayor, I'm saying this because this is why I live there. Boca Raton, I think, is the perfect mix of that small town charm and that big city business enterprise. We punch above our weight when it comes to business. We have 3 or 4 times the number of businesses for a city of our size of only 100,000 people. As I mentioned, more than half the corporate headquarters of all of Palm Beach County. Financial firms flocking here and more coming. They're going to see us in the Boca Raton Bowl on Tuesday night and see that they could be doing business in a low tax, high quality life jurisdiction, and where the weather is great in December all year round. In terms of managing that, I think we understand our identity. We have that business strength, but we're not building 50-story, 60-story buildings like they are in Miami. We're not going to see that type of growth. It's been measured, it's been responsible, and it's been incremental.
You've also talked about the need for more housing and bringing in more communities, especially in southern Palm Beach County. But how do you work together? I know you spoke recently in the Boca Raton Tribune. You said the solution is going to be a regional effort to bring in more housing. What do you mean by that?
Well, we were talking about affordable and attainable housing, and it is a challenge. The rents were really rising in 2022, partly because they hadn't risen at all, and landlords are trying to get whole in some cases. We understand that Boca Raton has a more affluent area, and the home values tend to be higher. What I meant by the regional approach is that you can build affordable housing more effectively in the region. It doesn't have to go in a particular city. If it's over a city line, 5 to 10 minutes away, it serves that purpose. And understanding the land values in Boca Raton happen to be higher, it makes that challenge more compelling, harder for someone to go build attainable housing in Boca Raton. But as we work as a whole regional solution, not just the county, but on a tri-county area, we can find places where it's more effective to put housing near modes of transportation where you have people commuting and working. It may not all have to go in each city, and we shouldn't be looking city by city at thinking that it's a city plan, it's a regional plan.
So essentially, by that you mean building affordable housing closer to some of these areas where maybe it wouldn't necessarily be home to the affordable housing, so that the workers can come work in these areas.
That's correct. It's easier probably to build attainable housing 10 to 15 minutes outside of Boca and have people get there and commute by different modes of transportation than it is in the heart of the downtown, where frankly land values are quite high.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know you have a very big week ahead, so we appreciate you taking the time out, and I'm sure we'll be in touch the next week or so to cover everything that's happening in Boca.
Well, thank you. Excited about Brightline, excited about the Boca Raton Bowl, and excited to be here. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Well, still to come, Governor Ron DeSantis signs the new insurance reform bill into law, what it means for homeowners, and the pushback from Democrats. Our roundtable discussion is next.